Welcome to the Blanco Wellness Podcast. Thank you for being here. Take a breath, settle in, and let's talk today about one of the oldest teachers available to any human being, one that has been visible every clear night for as long as people have been alive to look up. There is something that happens when you actually pause and look at the moon. Not glance at it while walking somewhere, but genuinely stop and look. It is the same object that every person who has ever lived has seen in that same sky, in phases that have cycled through the same sequence for longer than human memory reaches. There is something in that continuity that is quietly useful. It places the present moment in a context much larger than itself. Whatever is currently occupying the center of your attention, the problem, the worry, the pressing urgency of the day, exists inside a world that has been turning through its own unhurried cycles long before you arrived and will continue after. This is not meant to diminish what you are experiencing. It is meant to offer proportion, which is one of the things the natural world consistently provides to anyone who genuinely looks at it. The moon's cycle is one of the most visible and most consistent demonstrations available of something that human beings consistently struggle to accept, that everything moves in phases and that no single phase lasts. The full moon is genuinely full for only a night or two before it begins to diminish. The new moon's darkness gives way to the first slim crescent within days. Nothing in the cycle is permanent, and none of it is random. It is one of the most reliable rhythms in the observable world, repeating itself with the same phases in the same sequence, month after month across millennia. The ancient traditions that organized human life around this cycle were not engaging in superstition. They were paying attention, planting by the moon phases, coordinating ceremonies and rituals with the lunar calendar, using the cycle as a framework for reflection and intention. These were practical responses to the recognition that the natural world moves in rhythms and that aligning human activity with those rhythms tends to produce better outcomes than fighting against them. The Taoist principle of living in harmony with natural cycles, rather than imposing an artificial schedule on a world that operates on its own time, finds in the moon one of its clearest visible expressions. The new moon, the phase when the moon is dark, invisible, a beginning that has not yet shown itself, has been understood across many traditions as a time oriented toward intention. The seed before it breaks the soil, the breath before it becomes a word, not yet visible, not yet formed, but present as possibility. It is a natural invitation to ask the forward-looking questions. What is beginning for me right now? What do I want to move toward in the coming weeks? What intention is worth holding? These are not grand proclamations, but quiet clarifications, the kind that become more valuable when they are revisited regularly rather than made once and forgotten. The waxing phases that follow, as the moon grows from crescent to full, correspond naturally with effort and forward movement, the gradual accumulation of small, consistent steps that builds towards something visible. Not dramatic leaps, but faithful daily engagement with whatever is being built. The full moon's brightness, which has been associated across cultures with completion and illumination, offers a natural pause for acknowledgement, for genuinely noticing how far something has come, rather than immediately redirecting attention toward what has not yet been achieved. This last practice is rarer than it sounds. The tendency to move straight past the completed thing toward the next goal is one of the quieter ways that genuine satisfaction gets bypassed. Then the waning. The moon diminishes from full back toward dark, and the invitation this phase carries is one that the culture around us almost never encourages: to release, to let go of what has served its purpose, to make space by setting down what no longer needs to be carried. The natural world understands that growth and release are not opposites, they are partners in the same cycle. The tree that cannot release its leaves in autumn cannot grow new ones in spring. The field that is never allowed to lie fallow eventually stops producing. The exhale is as necessary as the inhale. The waning moon is a monthly reminder that release is not failure, that rest is not stagnation, that the quieter phases have their own essential work to do even when nothing visible is happening. This is perhaps the most practically useful thing the lunar cycle offers as a framework. The permission to be in whatever phase you are actually in without treating the quieter ones as problems to be solved. Much unnecessary suffering comes from expecting yourself to maintain full moon energy continuously, to be always motivated, always expansive, always producing, always moving forward at full capacity. This is not how any living system works. Everything cycles. The ocean does not apologize for the tide going out. The tree does not consider winter a setback. You are allowed to have seasons of stillness and seasons of growth, seasons of release and seasons of beginning, and none of them are the wrong season to be in. As we close today, I want to leave you with something simple. The next time you notice the moon, tonight or tomorrow, or whenever you next happen to look up, take a moment to actually look at it. Notice its phase. Notice where it is in the cycle. And ask yourself, honestly, what phase you are in right now. Not what phase you think you should be in, not what phase would look better to someone else, but what is actually true. Because aligning with where you actually are, rather than fighting it, tends to be where genuine movement begins. The cycle will continue regardless. The question is only whether you move with it. Thank you for being here with me today. Until next time, be well.